Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another scene set in Editors of Crusade Season 2. And that cough is rather fitting, as tonight we set the scene just off the road of Cinder Street, down a small, thin walkway that leads down to a humble but not insignificant tea house. Unconventionally foreign. It is not Western, it is not Arabic, it is from the Far East, and is very much built in that particular styling, very distinct from the rest of the central market, rest of the city in general, really. Within, there are many waiters and waitresses, all tending to the food and drink of those on the ground level. But for those in the know, for those of the midnight society, will know that the second floor is exclusive to them. The small row or small smattering of tables where one can eat and drink as if they were mortal once more. And there is where Gerard is situated, the sheriff of the domain, alongside Primogen of Clan Ravnos. As I just look up a sheet real quick, because the laptop is slow. That makes me sad.
So Gerard has come, and he is unarmored this evening in his finest regalia, as befits a Ventru. He has been to this place once, at the behest of Li Hua, I think it is, and a small gathering that was had here, and so this place is not unfamiliar to him, although it has been several months. And
yeah, place is known to be owned by the child of the Primogen, Li Hua, you're correct.
And so when he gets there, Gerard will do the usual, greeting and give a respectful bow and all this other stuff. As one would appear, but at the same time, he knows this this lady is an elder, so.
She's just kind of been sipping gently from a cup of tea. She's probably been making some very very polite, rigid small talk. But eventually she will just turn the topic to matter of your business, and she will just say, "So, my good sheriff, while the talk and tea is lovely, I do assume it is not the reason that you have decided to visit me here tonight."
You are correct. I would not presume to waste your time, so I'll get right to the point. I would like to request your aid in a very sensitive matter.
What particular matter? You have
Perhaps
several.
I have heard that you are a gifted seer.
I do. I see things. Although I generally keep such revelations to myself, unlike the more common among those named seer.
As expected. However, I would not come to you if it weren't of grave importance to the city. You've no doubt heard, or perhaps even have seen, the incident that took place in the Jewish quarter. The preeminent rabbi of the city murdered.
Ah, yes. She kind of sets down her teacup onto this little plate. I do feel for the people of the quarter. They're as persecuted as often as my own.
Would it surprise you to know that that the rabbi's wife was actually a ghoul under the auspices of Clan Asimite?
No, I would have expected as such.
She was murdered as well, along with a guard.
Hmm.
And this whole incident constitutes a breach of domain, as the perpetrator was assuredly a Canaanite.
You have identified evidence of Kenneth activity. I can't say I'm surprised. I do not need to see into the future or the past to know that such activities are so much of our purview, despite our own inclinations to act as if we are above.
It's only a problem until one is caught. Or it only becomes a problem when one is caught. And several outside clans have discovered the perpetrator. But I wish to perhaps enlist you to give me an outside opinion.
Hmm. Well, an outside opinion is always helpful, particularly when it comes to matters such as these. After all, the voice of an insider is laden with biases and prejudices.
Indeed. I was wondering if perhaps you had any insight on the matter, or what I would need to supply you with to find the same.
Hmm. The building, the bodies, the knife. She kind of stares into her empty space briefly. The knife would be helpful.
I thought you might say as much. And Gerard produces a knife.
I'll be honest. For death or for rabbi, it is something I predicted but could not stop. The responsibilities of such a thing fell to those who claimed it as their domain.
I agree. Unfortunately, it is my duty to follow up on the requests of the clan in question.
They're rarely so direct, but there's a change of pace.
Perhaps they're just very nettled.
Nettled. It is closer to two individuals arguing about how to carry a load. They both wish to carry the load but can't agree on how to do so. Seems to be the nature of their clan right now. I haven't seen it in quite some time. They're usually so tight-knit, but that is neither here nor there. We come to the area of a matter outside of my sphere. Outside of what are my responsibilities. I would, however, be happy to perform this task for you in exchange for compensation of a minor boon. In exchange, you'll receive any information I can convey, and you will have such information backed via my word as a Primogen. Of course, you may wish to seek something more concrete, but it is such a convoluted thing to perform in these nights. When one can simply vanish into nothing. Or manipulate unseen essence into matter. I can see why the reliance upon mysticism is appealing.
It would seem that you've seen all of this in advance.
All of it, just enough. The Marcavians see all of it, and we all know what happens to them.
Yes. Yes, I have.
That is the price of knowing everything. That is why my clan is ever so careful to weave deceit into its truths. to ensure that we are not subject to the same ills and ailments that the Markavians are.
Well, hopefully, having seen enough, that will be enough for my purposes. I do happen to have pokers and other fires as well.
I would hope so. After all, the word of but a simple Ravnos is not the word. It's not a word. It's not the word that many take seriously.
But this isn't just any Ravnos.
That is true. True enough. She'll put her hand to the knife. I'm gonna have a roll. Well, there's a lot of dice.
I should hope so.
No, that is an extremely absurdly high dice pool. Lucky you. 1 second. I don't think I actually set the scene in Discord, so I will just do that right now. I'll save this roll. Well, I mean, she gets a lot, but she might be rolling at a lower diff, so she basically gets she gets as much information as one can receive from the item.
Excellent.
She remains largely unfazed as this happens. Her lips twitch and shift ever so slightly. And she'll open her eyes. Take her hand off the knife very gently. That knife saw a lot of bloodshed in all the wrong directions. She sighs. This city is much like home, I find. So many paths we can choose to take, and we always seem to head down the wrong one.
I find that it does make for an interesting dynamic.
I disagree. I find it is far too predictable. The future is not fixed, yet we seem to act as if it is. All of these Canaanites and killers in Shamulo, acting as if there is only one choice. Unable to look beyond the own strings, beyond the strings that they are pulling. I do not need the gift of prophecy to see the choices that lie beyond my own power. I think this perpetrator would do well to learn the same.
I acquiesce to your wisdom. I, myself, am not gifted with anything in the way of mystical sight or premonition or soothsaying. I'm not very familiar with it in any regard.
No, but you apply yourself beyond one singular means to establish more. And sometimes you stretch yourself beyond them. That in itself yields its own results. Far more interesting than what is on display here. It is sad to see faith so misplaced.
A lesson we could all benefit from, I believe. At some point in our lives. Unlives.
Yes. That is perhaps the one interesting thing about all of this. How long it takes each of us to learn our respective lessons before moving on to the next. But I have shared my pseudo-philosophical ramblings with you for long enough. I shall grant you for information the knowledge that you seek. And it shall have my written acknowledgement, my written word, and we shall see how much weight it carries. You are facing an interesting challenge. The perpetrator is still moving to conceal themselves. It will not be quite so straightforward as it initially appears to be.
I will do what I must, and I hope that what you have provided will be but one of many weights that will drag the truth to light.
You were wise to come to me. Unlike many cases such as this, for once it shall be the outsiders dictating the outcome of the events rather than the insiders.
There is opportunity to be had for those outsiders, I believe.
It is a very underappreciated view.
I, for one, have never been comfortable with my perch. I find that there is a tenuous base that could collapse at any moment should I step the wrong way. I have never been one to rest on my laurels. I appreciate your wisdom, and I will honor the boon that I have given. But also, if you have any needs that are pressing upon you, my door is always open, and I am welcome to hear what it is you have to say, if anything. Things seem to be particularly well run in your domain, if you don't mind my saying so.
I thank you for your praise. Although perhaps it is less because of our own power and more because of the wisdom of our enemies that they choose not to venture here. I'm not sure how aware you are of Clan Ravnos, but like the Assamites, we are renowned as hunters of demons within our homelands.
I admit I am not as well versed on the goings on of your homeland as I should like.
That is understandable. It is far removed from what would appear to be the epicenter of past, present, and future events.
There is something that is unrelated to all of this that I may seek your particular insights with an artifact that I've recovered that my own contacts with access to mystical arts have looked at, but the origins of which are sadly strange to us, and perhaps they may have some sort of origin in places closer to your homeland than ours.
Oh,
A religion that I'm not very familiar with.
hmm.
I do
Her eyes
believe
kind of linger off to the side. She cracks a slight smile.
I'm not sure if the threat is entirely gone. I do believe it has been defeated for now, but I should like to make sure that the deed is completely done, and as such, I would like to approach every possible avenue, including seeking out your wisdom on the matter. You may find it interesting and reward in and of itself to examine it. If not, we will see when the time comes.
There is always more to learn. I'd be interested in seeing what you have on display.
I will send you an invitation and allow you to look at it free of prying eyes.
And you have my thanks.
It is I who will thank you. You have been very helpful, and I look forward to your written uncoverings. There will also be a matter put before the court that is related to this incident, as I'm sure you have surmised.
I know. I will be in attendance, if only to emphasize Ravnos's word. When a promise is made, it is kept.
Thank you, Lady Primogen. I won't waste any more of your time.
Then have yourself a good evening, Gerard. Sheriff Gerard. Be cautious these nights. The threats you have struck down they are but a symptom. And what will approach you? She pauses. Shall we just say that the city faces many diseases, some more familiar to you than others?
Well, I can only do what I can. But it will be the entirety of my effort put towards curing the city of what ails it.
But don't you do what you must?
When the situation demands that I must.
Then I hope you have nothing to fear.
All of us have something to fear somewhere. Good evening, he says with a smile and a slight nod of his head, and then will excuse himself.
And yes, you shall exit the tea house. But the host, Liwa, bids you farewell. She's been downstairs. She hasn't had a real chance to engage with you, although she did show you upstairs. But yes, she bows and says farewell to the good sheriff. And that is where we shall call this scene. Thank you for playing. Thank you all for watching. We'll see you all next time.